feel free to put in the town that you're coming from tonight in there. Some people jumped in there already, all over it. From the Hamilton, from Wellington, Tauranga, Lower Hutt, Hamilton, Auckland. I was talking to Don just a moment ago offline, and he was quite amazed that so how many people we get who actually log in internationally to see what's going on in the Wellington or New Zealand property market. We had some people from Malaysia recently on one of our webinars. Good old Phil Thompson coming in from Loveville. That's just north of Auckland, I think, from memory. Tony from Wellington, wonderful Wellington. I don't know about wonderful tonight. We're talking about weathering the storm. It's a perfect night for this presentation because we are literally weathering a decent windy storm here in Wellington. Ashburton, Cappy Coast, Tauranga, Dunedin. Awesome. Well, it looks like everyone's online anyway. Looks like we've got some people to talk to, which is awesome. So with that webinar software working like that, if you've got a burning question in your mind, absolutely feel free to type it into those questions section. I will try and answer it live on the webinar. Nobody else can see your questions. So if you're sitting there thinking, oh, I want to ask a question, but this is a really dumb one, just remember there's absolutely no dumb questions and nobody else can see your dumb questions anyway. So there you go, type it in and go wild. Okay, so that's me. Who the heck are property tutors? If you're brand new to us, this is who and where we are, I suppose. On the right-hand side there, a little red arrow, that's the Auckland office. We have our head office up there in Auckland, which is where the aforementioned Phil Thompson works from. He's our CEO in Auckland there, and I am down here in Wellington. And this is our black painted building with the property tutors logos and bits and pieces on it in Hutt Road in Lower Hutt, which is where I'm sitting right now, just inside that smoked glass window there. So we are a nationwide property coaching company. You can't buy real estate off us. We're not selling property to you ever or this evening. What we do is we take property investors and give them the knowledge, the confidence and the skills, the discounts and product. We give them everything they basically need, including a fantastic sounding board to be able to go out there with some confidence and invest in some real estate in a big, big way. And when I say a big way, we buy a couple of hundred houses a year, tend to renovate and sell quite a few. More and more lately, we've stopped being such a full-on trading company, and now we also do an awful lot of buy and hold investments as well and help our clients build fairly fabulous cash flow positive property portfolios out of the profits they've made from trading properties. So next, what I want to mention is that yes, we have an event on this coming weekend in Wellington. I've had some people come at me saying, how the heck do I get my hands on some tickets to that event? I'm going to throw the deal at you right now tonight that we're going to present at the end of this webinar as well. So if there's some people online tonight, and I know there is, that want to grab their hands on one of the last, would you believe, 20 tickets that we have available for this weekend's event. It's this coming Sunday, 7th of May, in the Intercontinental Hotel in Wellington. And we're going to do a deal tonight, which I'm going to throw at you now. Now, I've got an extra special bonus for this deal, which I'm not going to tell you about till the end of the event, of the presentation tonight. But if you're in a rush and you want to grab one of those last 20 tickets, you can do right now. And all you need to do is go to bookthedeal.co.nz, the website, and we're holding 20 tickets for tonight's webinar, which is the last 20 tickets available for this event. We're holding it open for 60 minutes. There's $67, and for that money you get 4 tickets, meaning for $67 you can bring 4 people with you to our event. As I said, 20 tickets to go at that level, and then we're out of tickets. So if you're desperately keen to come to our event and you missed out on a few previous occasions, or if you haven't heard Don speak before, either in Wellington or ever, you really do need to get your hands on one of those tickets. Jump over there while you're listening to me right now. We'll go on with the presentation, and I'll let you know what that extra special bonus extra is at the very end of this presentation as well. Awesome. Now, just as a quick, I suppose an update or a bit of an idea of what's going on in the marketplace. I know Don wants to talk about Auckland versus Queenstown versus Wellington and other regions and other areas to invest around the place. But I just found this comment really, really interesting. This was a radio interview that happened today by John Iverson, who's the director of CoreLogic, which is basically when you buy or sell a property, QV, Quotable Value New Zealand, has you on their database, puts the sale into a massive list of property sales nationwide. CoreLogic comes along then and does analysis and figures out what's going on in the property market based on the numbers of properties selling and how much they're selling for. And this was a great quote from him. He says that there's a 21% rise in Wellington in prices of houses being sold over the same time last year. It's due to an extreme case of supply and demand. There's just literally not enough stock in the marketplace right now. There's only about half the number of homes that are on the market that there was a year or two ago. Now, anybody that knows me knows that I run a fairly non-scientific list of listings available in my token Lower Hutt property market, and it has gone to 510 listings at one stage 2 or 3 years ago in Lower Hutt. At the moment, it's at 231 listings. That's all that's on the market in the entire Lower Hutt catchment area, and that is historically low numbers of listings. And as I was just mentioning to Don previously, that has created a situation where people are scrambling to buy a house. I was speaking to a real estate agent yesterday, and she was doing her feedback calls. So she'd done an open home on the weekend. She was ringing back the people that attended the open home to get their thoughts on the property. And one of the ladies said, "Oh, thank God it's still on the market. I thought that the day after the open home it would have been sold." And that's people's intention. That's people's headspace and where they're at with property at the moment in Wellington. Stuff is just moving so quickly. And good quality renovated properties are just going, through the roof. So that's Wellington at 21% rise. There are suburbs like Petone that's gone up 30%, and right now is realistically a pretty fantastic time to capitalise on that if you're getting into the property market. Imagine, if you will, the Auckland rise in values. Imagine getting in at the very beginning of that. That's where I see Wellington is right now. Pretty exciting stuff, really, and I'm stoked with it. I think that it's a uniquely fantastic point in the market, which may not be repeated in our lifetimes. So I'm pretty much up for that. Now, I'm going to unmute Don, who is the founder, presidente, and lead dude and marketing and impersonario, should I say, at Don Ha Real Estate. Don, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good evening.
Good evening. Thanks so much again for joining us on the webinar. We really, really appreciate it.
Yep, you're welcome. I'm looking forward to it. This is my second time doing it, so I'm going to get better at it now, because last time I had a practice run with you, and great feedbacks, and I didn't even expect people all the way from Malaysia to dial in, so it's quite an amazing audience.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. We love our audience, and the thing I love the most about our audience, I think, is that they don't interrupt very much. They have to type in their questions; they can't say them. So it's really just you and me talking to each other, mate. It's great. Hey, well, look, how would you explain who Don Ha is? I mean, a lot of the Auckland property investors obviously know Don Ha Real Estate, but for some of my Wellington listeners and people all around the country, who is Don Ha and who is Don Ha Real Estate?
Well, Don Ha has been in real estate since 1994, and I came here in 1980 as a refugee, got into real estate since 1994, and since then I personally sold over $1 billion property now, and currently our company, we had a record turnover last year, over 700 million of sign-up sales. So we do developments and projects nationwide, and even also in Australia as well. So we got a wide range of product, and we're dealing with a wide range of developer, and therefore our knowledge from house and land, existing properties to all areas, it's a great knowledge for us to have to pass on to our agent and onto our clients.
That's fabulous. And realistically, a few years ago, you were pretty much just centred in South Auckland. Why the change to some stuff in Australia? And I know you're doing some stuff here in the Hutt Valley, and I know you're down in Queenstown later in the week, aren't you? So I mean, why the diverse difference in geography now?
Well, it's like investing, really. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. So I actually learned from my earlier mistakes, where most of my investments are in South Auckland, and I should have, say, invest in Central Auckland, because at the same time I thought Central Auckland was only 500,000, but it didn't give me the cash flow that I wanted, so I thought I'd stay in South Auckland. But I did not know that invest in the right location, it will give you the fastest capital growth. And also in selling now, we have to be able to sell in all sectors in New Zealand and also in Australia, because we go where the money is, we go where the wealth is. We don't just stay in one space. Just say because you live in Wellington, you don't have to invest in Wellington, for example. If you say, for example, Auckland right now is going off, then you go to Auckland, but Auckland now is not going off anymore. Wellington is, and also Queenstown is, and well, that's where you should be going, because you can always come back to a spot later on. So we call ourselves the four-season sellers. We sell in all season because we'll find different area that has growth. We go for that spot where the growth is to advise our investors.
That's magic. Awesome. Thank you for that. You're talking about international people online too. I just had somebody, Todd, say that he wants to say hello from Bangkok. So absolutely.
Hello, Todd. I got your email. Welcome back.
All right. So we basically got given the same instructions for content for this webinar, and we've both taken it in totally different directions. So you know, what are your thoughts? Go for it. These are your slides. Tell the assembled crowd what you think they need to know.
Well, you must be able to make changes with the market, but also you must be able to change with your personal situation when you face it. So, for example, right now, you know, this market here, what it's doing is really interesting. It's slowing down in Auckland. The property today, you know, Barfoot's put out a report, the lowest sale in 9 years. But what we noticed was, well, in the recent 2 weeks, I personally actually sold like $30 million of development projects, because the one with the money is now coming out and buy, and the one that needs to sell will sell. So your situation that right now, you don't have to do it because what everybody else does. You should do the opposite. Everybody else right now is not buying. Well, all of a sudden you've got a lot of bargains coming on the market, a lot of development projects coming on the market, and the one that cash up are buying. So it doesn't mean that you have to wait for everybody. Well, give you an example. In the past 24 hours, I virtually sold down a whole tower almost in Queenstown. I sold 21 apartments within 24 hours I sold them. And now I sold out. I could have sold another 15 more, but all of a sudden that goes to our Auckland investors. All of a sudden they're saying, hey, Don, Auckland is they're good, but I like to go to another area where the capital growth is, and I like to diversify my investment, because I already got 3 or 5 or 10 properties in Auckland. I want a Queenstown property for holiday home, but also for capital growth. So on that basis, we sourced the product and we sold them, off the plan, and we know that these properties will grow in value, because I have sold quite a few in Queenstown, and I have on-sold them for $100,000 to $150,000 more, and it's only recent 2 months that I sold all of those on sales. So yeah, you've got to be able to deal with changes, and changes right at home, then change somewhere else.
So what's actually happening in Queenstown? Why is it so hot right at the moment? Is it out-of-towners buying into it, or is it locals, or what is it?
One of our agents is now moved to Queenstown, so what she tells me is quite amazing. A 2-bedroom apartment is rented for $850 a week, and a room alone is rented for $350 a week. And right now, you've got no accommodation for the workers' accommodation. I think Queenstown right now is making a big mistake. The biggest mistake Queenstown is making is they are focusing on the tourist sector too much. The hotel that we sold, the Ramada that we sold, the Wyndham Hotel, virtually sold out in basically a week. And then opposite this hotel is a college that's getting built now, a school. And then you've got another zone for 12 more hotels, but who's building accommodation and houses for people to live in? Nobody. They're focusing on tourist sector very much. So as an investor, you should now go to Queensland and buy up the residential things, especially buy residential off the plan, because when these properties are finished, people have to move into Queensland to work. For example, the executive, the managers, the workers, the hotel workers, they need to rent somewhere. And if people go to school, in the new school there, well, the teacher has to stay nearby, and they've got nowhere to stay. So naturally, they'll buy these products, and they will be living in them, and the capital gain will be just far outweigh anything else I see right now.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I mean we're seeing that happen with some places all around the country where you know, population's gone to a certain point where we're not building enough houses to support these people. It used to be Auckland. We couldn't build the houses fast enough up there, and Auckland sprawled out over this massive geographic area. But Queenstown can't really do that, and to a degree, neither can Wellington. You know, we've got water and we've got hills and we've got issues like that. Just can't go anywhere.
Yep, and look, I got some great contacts in Wellington, Upper Hutt developers, and they're selling a lot of products there. And I have sold some to the Auckland investors. They bought the house off the plan, 4-bedroom, 185 square meters, 2-level for $625. That only goes about 6 months ago. The same product now is going on the market at $725,000. So that is a huge jump, as you said earlier. But look, we have access to these great products because developers still need the pre-sales of the plan to achieve their finance. Therefore, they come to Don Hare quickly because Don Hare's got all the investors, and obviously the investor will snap them up really quickly. And then once it gets built, then the local comes in. They'll say, "Hey, I want to buy a house. I want to move in right now." But look, that's an advantage of being part of Property Tutor program and also this webinar program, that you get access through all of these good stocks.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, you want to continue on?
Right. So, drive yourself. I'm a great driver of success or ever getting result. I don't believe that this current market is, or that anyone's current situation has to be at exactly what their level are and what they accept. So I just came back from Singapore, for example, only a few days ago, and I had the opportunity to visit this real estate company. And I want to launch my company to become a nationwide brand, and I didn't know how I'm going to go ahead and do it. But I visited this company, and the Singapore population is 5.5 million, and this one single company, and they're not even street funded, they're level 11 and level 12. Believe it or not, they have 5,000 sales agents, one company in Singapore. They don't have 180 offices, say Harcourt nationwide, for example. And their system is to be able to, you can work anywhere. And right now, real estate industry, the way it is, we have programs that we can work anywhere. So that was incredible. It inspired me that I can actually do this, because I want to do this, but when I visit this company, I saw their system, and they can have 5,000 agents in 2 floors. Well, I can have 400 agents in 1 office, and I'll plan to have that, say, in Ellerslie, somewhere where it's 30 minutes radius, traveling in all sectors, all directions, so the agent can centralize itself. So I was totally inspired by it, to see this set up. But most of all, I'm even more inspired when I visit the Housing New Zealand equivalent office. The Singaporean government over there, their ambition is to have every one of their residents to own a house or an apartment. So say if you earn $30,000 a year, they'll give you $50,000 as deposit. You've got to stay in this apartment for the next 5 years. You can't sell it. You can't buy the second house until you pay the first house off. Well, that really inspired me when I come back here and see all their major developments. I want to be able to lobby that sort of idea, come to Queensland and consult Housing New Zealand, how to provide housing schemes for the people here in New Zealand that they can own their own home. So I'm a totally changed person on that basis, and because of that trip, it's a holiday trip, but at the same time it was an inspirational trip. I came back in, I saw the opportunity in Queenstown in the past 24 hours. You know, we virtually sold 21 apartments for $14 million, and that changed me within 7 days. So that's the drive in my film.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure. I had another seminar only 2 weeks ago, and I talk about double down on your incomes. And I challenged the people in the audience. I said, look, whatever you earn in your job or your business, you should try to double your incomes every year. For example, if you are on a salary now, joint income 120,000 or 100,000, or you have a business that earns you 200,000, and you think that if you think that's all you can earn, well, how can you get ahead? Because you don't do deals and you don't do any more because you thought that your time is precious, you overwork, you have no more time. Well, in poverty, we have a statement, whatever you make in a year, we should make it the same, because we choose the right property with the right capital gain. So just to give you one example, say the property in Queenstown that we sold, the buying of the plan was $699. The client put in $69,000 deposit. We sold it for $839,000. So they bought 2 of them, and actually they would have made that $200,000, and their income was only $135,000. So what we're creating here is we're creating a business on top of a business. To get ahead, you must double your incomes every year. Now, it'll become a real challenge when you go from 100,000 to 200,000. That's achievable. From 200,000 to 400,000, that's achievable. From 400,000 to 800,000. Now, that is still achievable with you and 1 or 2 PAs. From 800,000 to 1.6 million now, you've got to take a pause here. How do you double your incomes every year if you earn 800,000 and now it's going to go to 1.6 million? Now, when I ask that question right now, you will be hesitated, I'm hesitated, so is the audience, because you're jumping from 800 to 1.6 million. Well, that still can be done by putting in extra people to work for you, but also have some better knowledge, and you're not going to get it in one market. You're going to be able to have it in all market sectors. But there's a next bigger question. Go from 1.6 million to 3.2 million. Now, that is something else. You can't just go from 1.6 million to 3.2 million incomes in a year if you don't, for example, say you may have five PAs working for you, you buy and sell property, you've got to get into some development, and you've got to get into all sorts of other series of things to double your income, and it can still achieve that 1.6 to 3.2 million. But let's wind the clock right now. Let's just go, say from the audience right now, whatever income you're on, and this is a personal challenge. If whatever income you're on, and you know what incomes you're on, because I don't know what incomes you're on, but let's just say if the average married couple, young couple, on an income of 140 to 150,000 joint income, by the time you pay your mortgage off, by the time you have take your kids to school, your car, you end up with very little money and you can't travel as often. Well, you should change your mindset. You should say, from today, come to the Property Master event on May the 7th. I will be there. I will challenge your mind how to double your incomes within the same period. Therefore, you would have been better off because you would have earned 100% more income. And 70% of our clients doubles their income that we mentor and look after.
You can't be.
How does that sound?
Yeah.
It sounds too good to be true, but I have done it. I have done it for many clients and I've seen them. And look, I'm just talking very normal numbers here, because you visit my Facebook, there you see one of the clients on there right now. I mean, they just make 70,000 buying a property, but you know, they just work normally on the office work. Well, if they do 2 of that a year, well, they double their money, you know. So doubling your income sounds very hard, but it sounds very easy for us because we do it all the time.
You got to keep it fresh. I mean, you got to keep it moving along. You know, if you're not going forward, you're going backwards, really, aren't you? Let's face it.
Well, I think that if we all look at ourselves right now, and this is my next challenge question for everyone again in the audience. I don't know what age you are right now, but let's just pretend right now. Okay, so what you do right now is, if you were age 40 or age 50 or age 30, you've got to ask yourself, in the next 10 years, are you going to do exactly the same thing as what you do today? Are you going to earn a little bit more money doing exactly the same thing? Well, then your income is predictable, your career is predictable, but except that you're 10 years older than what you are right now. So, look, you don't want to be 60-year-old or 50-year-old or 75-year-old and you haven't achieved anything in 10 years' time. Time is running against you regardless how old you are. I only wish I was in my 20s now, but I'm not. So time is running against me for what I want to achieve. But most people think I achieve a lot, but I think, look, I'm only at 30% right now. Therefore, I need more, and time is running against me, running against all of us. But it's up to us what we do with our current time while we are here and we are energetic enough to face the current market and our success.
Absolutely.
Right. Our next subject is great advisors. Look, I think that I underestimate the power of great mentors and great advisors. I think that right now, I actually had a personal trainer that texted me today, and he said that I'm a personal trainer, and are you available to come to the gym at 5:30 today so I can have a coffee with you and have a chat about your fitness programs? Well, why would you go to the gym firstly to get a personal trainer to tell you what to do? And I know that a lot of us have personal trainers and we pay them like, $40 or $60 or even $100 for them to tell us how to exercise. I don't think going back 10 or 20 years ago there's personal trainers at the gym, but now there's personal trainers in all sectors. So when it comes to properties, we think that we go and spend 500,000 or 700,000 buying a property, we just ring up an agent and buy a house. But why not get a personal trainer or a personal trainer on that basis to teach you what to do, what to look out for? If you're an investor, for example, well, the personal mentors, they can give you great advice and give you the good and the bad areas, tenant-wise, and you're spending like your lifetime investment, and why aren't you getting advice on that? For example, myself right now, I'm actually looking at growing Donha real estate rapidly and quickly. I need to now go for external sources, meaning like, I need external source advice to make sure that my decision making is right, my marketing is right. I am not good in that area, even though I'm very, very good from the face of it, but I'm not that great in that sort of area of growth and managing that many people. So I now need to go and pay for external advice on that basis. So look, I think that when you need great advice, you need great mentors, and you need to go to the people that experience. You can't just go and just do it blindly and get it wrong, because I have seen a lot of people bought the wrong properties and lose money on that basis.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it can be the most expensive advice you get in the world is free advice from friends and people you talk to around a barbecue. You really got to go for people that are in the market all the time and know what you're talking about.
That's right. Like right now, most of the people just talk around, wait for the market to see what it's doing and things like that. But the one with the money, what they're doing is they're buying up all the property that has got like 2, 3, 5 to 10 site development, because they know that when the market turns, they can re-subdivide them, build them, and then make money on them. But right now, a lot of people are just sitting on the fence. But the smart ones are just going to buy them up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think that education must be a lifelong thing, because no one ever knows everything. And I think that I made a very early mistake, when I was very successful. I thought I knew everything, and I didn't want to listen to anybody, and I didn't want to do any sort of like joint ventures or share deals or that sort of stuff. I was all me, but I think the biggest mistake I made was not to listen to people around me, and therefore life is all about learning right now. And I value people's opinion and also advices, because sometimes if you don't hear another voice, you could make that big mistake. And hearing another voice, even though that voice of that person is not as successful as you are, but you can actually take that 1 or 2 words out of that voice that will change your decision making. And to me, that is really important, that you've got to stay educated. You must read. You must ring up people for advice. I'm now emailing my people in Singapore for some advice, for example. I met them 7 days ago, and they just send me some information over, so that my decision making is good. And I didn't trust that advice enough, so now I'm sending the same thing to Sydney for another advice, just to make sure that we talk the same language. So I can have the network of a lot of successful people where I can ring and email and get advice from. But a lot of us don't do that. We keep it to ourselves, and we sign up partners. We just go ahead and try to do it ourselves, and that's why our results are a lot slower, because we try to do everything ourselves, and we get stuck in that location or in that position where we pick up the phone, we could talk to someone, we could speed our success up a lot faster for that reason. So don't be afraid of picking the phone up. Don't be afraid of sending an email in. And don't be afraid of just, taking advice from somebody on that basis and get ahead.
You know, Sue, I totally agree with this, and I've got this theory that I reckon the number eight fencing wire Kiwi mentality of she'll be right, I can do it on my own, I totally don't need anybody else's assistance, even right down to watching these Mitre 10 ads and cringing where they're promoting DIY, but they're not promoting getting the skills to be able to do it properly yourself. And I think it holds us as a
Yeah,
nation, it holds us back because yeah, absolutely. We get stuck in and we try stuff out for ourselves, but we muck it up so bloody often as well. Um, yeah, that definitely hits a chord with me. I can see that.
yep. And I think that if we change our mindset today, tomorrow we'll be in a better position and we can achieve a lot more, and we'll be a lot happier because we would have talked to more people.
Yep, I couldn't agree with that one more. All right. So, essentially, what advice would you give people who are sitting on the webinar tonight and have been listening to your presentation side of it about how to double their income, how to take good advice, what to do, where to go to from here? What would you say people should do?
Well, I'll give you one example right now. My wife's auntie, she lives in Wellington, and her husband has passed away sadly through cancer in the recent 2 months or 3 months, I think. So she's on her own, and she's got a son. He's 23, and also a daughter. And she's looking at buying a property right now in Lower Hutt.
Yep.
And I said, look, before you buy this property, why don't you come along on May 7th at the Proper Tutor event? Because I can't tell you everything because I know you. I'd rather the people on stage tell you everything. And then if you take this education on, you don't want to do it. It's good for your son because he can do it, and he can do it for you, and he can do it with you. And if he chooses to take it up, it will change your life and change his life and his future children's lives forever, because I believe in the power of education so much, because right now you know nothing about poverty. Poverty Tutor will tell you everything about it on Sunday the 7th, and they got real people on stage with real success, real examples. Once you see that, then you can come back and I can advise you it's not better. So if that's the advice I give to my own family, that's the advice I give to the audience.
Yeah, fabulous. I really appreciate that. And look, when I was given the format for this, I sort of went more of a practical, hands-on, day-to-day sort of approach to the answering the questions that were posed by the webinar subjects. And so this is what I've got going on. I'm talking about keeping safe and avoiding mistakes. So I reckon the absolute basics are that when you're getting into property investment is to have some actual buying rules, which means not as much defining what it is you want to buy, but I think you look at it from the other direction and you define the things that you don't want to purchase. And personally, I'm not a big fan of leaky homes. I know you can buy them really, really cheap. I'm not a fan of smaller cities. I don't particularly like going outside of the main centres because I like population bases for tenant pools and buyer pools. But I mean, everybody's buying rules are going to be different for their own strategy. So what I would say is, define your own buying rules first and figure out what they are, and then find deals that fit into those buying rules. So my buying rules include location, demographics, number of people around, the types of property. As I said earlier, I don't like certain types of property. I don't mind buying somebody else's problem, but I don't like buying someone else's mistake and making it mine. And also defining your buying strategy and why are you buying a property and for what purpose. And so that's the basic rundown of where I come from when I'm looking at properties. And then the last thing to come into that is the price and where it sits in the marketplace and whether that's the correct price to go in on a property at. And then you get people that just start freaking out about risk. And I get that, but I really do think that the feeling of putting yourself into risk with property or real estate is a product of lack of knowledge. If you shine a big light on any particular problem, you'll usually find the solution to it. And so, the risks you can have are cash flow. We can mitigate that. We can figure out exactly what that is. We can look at the purchase price, figure out whether we can afford it, figure out exactly what we can pay for the thing. The bigger risk in my mind, though, is only having a single income source. And what I mean by that is what a lot of my clients who come to the Property Masters 2.0 event are doing is they're sitting there and they're going to themselves, okay, we're a family, we're a couple, either the husband or the wife goes out and works 40 hours a week, brings in a particular salary. The other partner may not. The other partner may stay home with the kids, be a full-time house person. Now, when that happens and the main breadwinner of the family either gets made redundant, loses their job or whatever, they're at massive risk and they really don't realise it. So I find that it's so much less risky to go out and do something today with your time and your money and your ability to borrow money while you've got income coming into the family. There's so much less risk in that than there is just sitting there doing nothing. The next one is there's so much less risk in buying 2 properties and having 3 income sources, your main income source and 2 rental properties, than there is just buying 1 rental property and sitting on it like it's going to help you in retirement. I think you've got to do a lot of stuff. Other people start freaking out about interest rates. I mean, a lot of people said to me when interest rates were really, really high, what if they go higher? And a lot of people are now sitting there going, well, interest rates are really, really low. What if they go back up again? And my answer to that is that interest rates are an inflationary pressure. And if interest rates go up, 9 times out of 10, they're followed by an increase in rents and an increase in value of the asset as well. The next thing is government regulation. Well, yes, we've had government regulation. We've had loan-to-ratio restrictions. Those have come into play in the last few months, and the market's handled it. The market's handled it remarkably well. Now, the Auckland market was booming along gangbusters. Government regulation came in with these LVR restrictions, and it's cooled the market slightly and created other opportunities both in and outside of Auckland for investors to get stuck in and buy some really great stuff. And then the final risk factor you've got there is just straight out market changes. Now, I've always said this, and I absolutely stand by it every time I do, but when there's a change in the marketplace, there's somebody smart like Don, like myself, like other property investors will capitalise out of that and make money out of that change in the marketplace. And that's exactly what's happening right now. Auckland's stagnated, cooled down, gone a bit flat. There's people diving in there now for the cash flow. Wellington's going bonkers and having capital gain, and people are diving in here to trade property and to hold property and making great money out of that as well. And then the last thing, they look at vacancy issues, and I look at it and go, well, I'll go straight back to the previous slide and say, if you buy the right product in the right location, there should be a massive buyer pool, or there should be a massive tenant pool for it. You shouldn't have any vacancy issues. You shouldn't have any trouble making property into a liquid asset. And then there's some interesting ones. I saw this one the other day. I just thought it was a bit of a giggle, so I'd throw it up on the webinar tonight. Interesting, sometimes how people market properties. Here's some creative advertising that I saw locally. This is a photo of the sunroom in this particular property. This is on the billboard outside the property. This is on the online marketing. This is on TradeMe. So that's the photo that they're using to market and sell this particular property. When you get to the property and walk inside the property, it's a little bit different story. It actually looks like this. What do you think about that, Don? Do you find that a little bit misleading?
Very interesting. Yeah.
That's what I thought. So that's the photo online, and that's the actual reality once you get into the house. And I think that's just pinpoints that it's you can mitigate. Sorry.
What happened there?
The tiles leaked and they rotted down through the floor, and you now can't walk out on the deck.
Right.
But if somebody really came along and wanted to buy this property, looked at it online, contacted the real estate agent, you know, they don't really know what they're buying. You've got to go on site and have a look at it. Once again, it's just mitigation of risk and keeping yourself safe, really.
It's the same as you look at the real estate agent photo and you see them, you can't recognize them.
You got a profile photo
of real photo there online. I hope you, when you see me, you'll recognize me.
Nice. And then with any investment, you need a strategic long-term plan as well. I think you've got to have a plan B. And what I mean by that is, plan A is, hey, we're going to buy this property, we might want to renovate it and trade it and sell it on. But we always work with properties that have a valid plan B as well. There's always got to be a second exit strategy with every primary strategy that you put out there into the marketplace. And we do that a lot by not buying in too high a price point areas. when we're trading property, for instance. So we like to buy stuff that's $400,000 and $500,000 and sell it for a nice healthy profit, because at that price point, you can nearly always put a tenant in it that will cover the entire cost of the property if you can't sell it. So you've got a valid plan B in place. And I think that's an important thing for mitigating risk, once again, and keeping yourself safe in the property market. And here's what it sort of looks like, I suppose, if you get it right. Here's a property that we purchased not too long ago. This is in Stokes Valley. What do you reckon a property looking like this would cost in South Auckland these days, Doc? It's a 3-bedroom, open plan, nice reno on it.
Well, let's put it this way. I just listed a house in Otara, which I visited this client 23 years ago. It's a 2-bedroom house on similar land I'm looking at now, but nowhere near as good as the picture. And that's on the market at $539,000. And, you know, Otara is where once we worry we're mate at once. So that's the sort of money you're looking at now. It's a do-up too. It's not even done up.
Yeah, well, this is done up, but it's not far from an Otara type of location, to be fair. Right. It's definitely along those lines. Now, we went through this particular property, and we thought about strategy, and we thought about ways to purchase it, and we thought about what was the best way to go, and we basically listed those down. We ticked them off. The location, it was bad, but it was fit for purpose for the type of investment that this turned into being. So that was fine. We were happy enough with that. We didn't discount it just because it wasn't in the premium location area. The demographics worked. The type of property was the type of property that people want to rent in this particular location. That works nicely. The property type, 3-bedroom, family home, double garage, full section. Great. The strategy that we put into place on this was buy it for cheap enough money so that we could rent it out and sit on this property and ride some capital gain. So that's exactly what we did, and then that dictated the final price that we purchased the property for. So my client Lisa negotiated this purchase and bought this particular 3-bedroom, fully renovated family home for $210,000 recently. It's rented for $440 per week, which gives about a 9.9 gross. We put it up a couple of dollars a week just so we could brag that it's a 10% return, but it's not. It's about 9.9. And she's basically purchasing properties around this and renovating them and selling them. Bought this property so cheap that it became a buy and hold property, and it was just too cheap and too good quality to renovate and just hock off and only make one profit from it. So she's decided to go on year after year and make profit after profit.
For $210,000, this is what you get now, Steve, in Auckland. So it costs now in Auckland to purchase a section, and the section is even 100 square meter to 200 square meter, and you'll be paying right now $340,000 or $300,000 for one of those sections. And to cost to develop that section right now in Auckland is $140,000, regardless of size. So I think if you guys can find a deal like that in Wellington, I'll advise all of you to go out there, queue up, and buy them all up, because that is unheard of. I'm so surprised at that number. I thought that you would say at least 330,000, but for 210,000, my God, go and buy up Wellington, guys.
Well, 350,000 is probably what this house is worth on the open market today if we put it back on the market. Lisa bought this about 6 months ago or something. The market's moved. She's made some capital gain out of it, but it just shows that the strategy's worked and that we could pick up this stuff. And with $440 a week coming in, she's obviously making money on it every day that she owns it anyway. It's a great strategy.
If you do a year, say you only find one every 6 months. Say you find one 6 months from today, you find another one 6 months later. Well, if you do 2 of them, there's your double your income, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it works with your strategy, absolutely. But the flip side of that, obviously, is that what Lisa's been doing in the background is trading properties, as in buying cheap stuff, renovating it and selling it. And that's where the deposits have come from to settle these types of deals, because obviously she's banging her head against the 40% loan-to-value ratio restriction, and the trading has created the deposits required for her to be able to buy and hold, you know, fantastic deals like this when they pop up. The only thing you can really do wrong with that strategy is to buy the wrong house in the wrong market, which coincidentally is my next slide. So here's a property we looked at a couple of weeks ago. Now this is obviously a dated, slightly older house. It's in Karori. It's a fantastic suburb. For those of you that know Karori, you come up Karori Hill, You come down the main road of Karori Road, you pass the mall on your right-hand side, and you keep going. When you get to the Macra Hill turnoff, you hang a left and come up onto the hill behind it. So it's a long way back into Karori. It's with a bit of traffic, it's 25, 30 minutes out of Wellington. Now, obviously, you had a decent land size at 551 square metres. The dwelling's 130 square metres. The RV on this, or the government valuation, is $435,000. But if you look at it, it's actually only a two-bedroom house. Now, it's a tidy two-bedroom house in a good suburb. You would imagine that you'd be able to buy this, spruce it up, and make some good money on it, wouldn't you? But homes.co.nz estimated the purchase price on this house at $620,000. So quite a way north of the 435 GV. Now, this house sold last week for well over $700,000 for a two-bedroom that's 25 minutes out of town. Now, I looked at this and we priced it and we put an offer in and we missed out. We didn't cry into our porridge because we looked at it and went, well, if somebody's going to pay $700,000 for this, a standard renovation to make it into a decent rentable or sellable property is going to be $60,000. You're going to have to sell this for about $850,000 to break even, but let alone make a few bucks on it. So, as I said previously in Lisa's slide, with this type of house, you can make money, you can make cash flow, you can be safe, and you can do great things with it, and you can roll from this house on to doing more and more houses. But if you buy the wrong house, it can stop you and it can slow you down. And a lot of people.
You need the coaching, don't you? This is what a coach will say: do not buy that house.
Well, yeah, I mean, we put an offer in, but we put an offer in way closer to the RV, and we wouldn't have held this property because it wouldn't rent for the amount of money it needed to cover itself, which is going to slow you down for the next purchase or the next purchase after that. So yeah, absolutely.
You wouldn't be saying $700,000 for it, would you?
No, I mean you're not going to want to do that. I mean, you certainly wouldn't pay $700,000 for this. It's not big enough. You're not getting enough house for your money.
Exactly. So that's a classic example of me saying earlier that you need advice, you need mentoring, you need coaching, you need education. Because look, if you made it one mistake, it's going to hold you back for the next 2 or 3 years before you recover. Therefore, you miss all that other opportunity.
Yeah, and the cost of recouping that money and being able to finance your way back out of a mistake and get back into the next one, it could be hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost opportunity for the things you didn't buy that were bloody awesome. Let's face it, the things you let fly past you.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree. No, look, so that was an interesting prospect for us, and this is exactly what we teach at the Masters 2.0 event, and we stand on stage for a good period of a full day and explain this. Now, this is me on the left-hand side of the screen. Obviously, that's Don on the far right-hand side. In the middle is Dave Windler, who's going to be one of our other major speakers at the event. Now, Dave's our finance guy, and he finds us the money we need. Now, amongst the three of us, without too much ego thrown around, I would say that there's not much in property that we don't know or haven't seen. Certainly, knowing Don's history with the number of transactions that he's gone through and knowing what I've done in the last 20 years in real estate, Don and I are probably anybody's top 5 list of top property guys in New Zealand. Now, Dave Windler would be my go-to guy for finance pretty much with every purchase I do. He knows how to fund these deals so that you can not only purchase the property in front of you, but you can get the next one and the next one after that as well, and how to pitch that to banks properly. And so the three of us are going to be giving you our absolute all at the Masters event 2.0. We call it 2.0 because it is absolutely a brand new event. We've done absolutely brand new content. There's a lot of product and a lot of content that's totally changed from even 6 months ago when the market was very, very different. And I know that Don presented his content in Auckland, and I think you have changed a lot of it since then even, haven't you, Don?
Well, look, I think my passion is to change people's position and change their mindsets, and I have achieved that totally at the last event at Property Tutors, and I had great fun and I got great passion doing it. So I just can't wait to come down and rock the Wellington crowd out.
Fantastic, and I mean, I've having listened to your presentation in Auckland, I thought it was pretty bloody cool actually, and pretty ballsy of you to say some of the things that you said and to put your true story and your passion on the line. And I think the Wellington crowd owe it to themselves to see that, and I think that it will will give them a new vigor in what it is that they're doing, because I think that Wellington now is poised at exactly where Auckland was when you really started, putting up some big numbers in Auckland as well. And I think it's so reciprocal now of where the market sits, so to speak. And so, really the only thing to do is really put a decent show together. So, I mean, this is a photo of the room we had in Auckland. We do table and chair style, so everybody's comfortable sitting there writing their notes and listening to the content. But we usually have 320, maybe 350 people in the room. We had 488 people turn up for our Auckland event, which absolutely blew us away. We had to put 7 more tables in just to accommodate everybody. It's a crazy thing, and we obviously can only sell 20 more tickets for the Wellington event, because otherwise, the fire marshals come in and close us down. We've had it happen once before, and it gets a bit embarrassing. They turn all the lights on and off and kick you out of the room. So I've just done 2 ticket sales online. People have been listening to the webinar while I've been going, and so we've got 18 tickets left that we could sell tonight to the event, and then we're absolutely sold out for this weekend. It's Sunday at the Hotel Intercontinental. The other bonus prize that we're going to do is we've got some prizes given to us by Mitre 10. Now, these Bosch sets are worth about $400. They're 18-volt, 3-tool electric power tool sets. The bottom set, the Makita ones, there are closer to $1,000 a set. We've got 2 of each to give away. We're just going to raffle them basically based on the people that turn up on the day. So when you come into the event, you're going to get a raffle ticket. When you register for the event, come up, say, hey, I'm here for the event. You get given a raffle ticket, and we're just going to give these things away during the day. Now, if you buy your ticket tonight, we're going to give you 5 extra tickets to go in the draw to win those power tools, which is kind of cool. It's about $2,200 worth of power tools we're going to give away. So, hey, it's worth it just on a level of all the freebie stuff we're giving away. I think it's a pretty cool idea. So tonight's offer, as I said before, is all you need to do is go to the website, bookthedeal.co.nz, and we're going to hold it up for the next 60 minutes. Obviously, there's not 20 tickets available now. There's 18 tickets still available to that. It's $67, and what you do is you get 4 tickets for $67, and so you can come along and bring 3 friends. Now, listen to this top tip from somebody who's done these events for 6 or 7 years. Grab yourself a ticket, mention it to a few mates, but drag in the friends and family that you need to either get on board with what it is you want to do, or who you want to borrow money off to be able to buy some houses. Everybody's got a couple of mates out there who are too shit scared to go and buy a house and make themselves some money. Am I right? So grab a few tickets and drag those people along and get them on the same line of thought as you're at. It makes an awful lot of sense. Drag them in. So, as I said, it's an Intercontinental Hotel. It's on this Sunday. It starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. We're going to finish and have you out of there by 5:30 at night. It's going to be a massive, massive, big, full-on days event. We've got a whole pile of freebies and stuff to give away. All you've got to do is go to that bookthedeal.co.nz. $67, as I said. You get 4 tickets and bang on in there in the day. Now, Don, thank you so much for joining us on the webinar. Once again, I really appreciate your content. Anything you want to say before I'll let you go?
Yeah, look, I think I'm really excited to see these numbers in Wellington you're showing me, because look, even the 40% of say 200 and 300,000 is 140,000, but you need 40% in Auckland, that's 300,000. So to me, it's still 20% in Wellington. So it's a very, very, very exciting time for you to get into this Wellington market. And look, I'm so excited about the seminar that I have to book my flight the day before, because I don't want to take the chance of missing the flight. Therefore, I want to be there, and I can't wait to present with you and with the audience on stage. So I'm looking forward to see everyone there on Sunday the 7th. And thank you for listening in. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Have a great night.
Awesome. Hey, thanks, Don. I really appreciate you taking your time out. I know you're a really busy guy, and I really appreciate your insights and your thought that went into delivering your content tonight. And mainly, I really look forward to catching up with you on the weekend and hearing you light up these people in the crowd. So you're stoked. Thanks very much again.
Cool. Thanks, Steve.
Alrighty, so I'm going to bang through some questions. Joy says, gone to the website, got my tickets. Awesome. Look forward to seeing you on the day, Joy. That means what have we got? 17 left. Let's hit some questions. Len says, would you buy in Wainui if the numbers were right and right price and good rent? It's a similar property to Lisa's one in my example. Look, Len, I've always been fairly anti-Wainui, fairly famously anti-Wainui, but there's always an exception. And the exception's this. If you know the market in Wainui really well, and you know the house pretty well, as in structure, taken a builder through it, had a really good look, know what the reno and the maintenance is going to be, and if the numbers work and you think the population's good enough there, then absolutely go for it. There's no bad investment over the very long term, so make sure of your numbers, make sure that it all works and it works for you, and go for it. Next comment is, I still feel the asking price in Auckland for Auckland property is very high. Is that still the case? It depends. It depends on how you look at it. 70,000 immigrants coming into New Zealand, a huge majority of them are moving into Auckland. Auckland can't and isn't building houses fast enough to house itself. Prices may be what you consider high, but believe me, they're going to keep going. At the very, very least, the property market in Auckland at the moment has paused or taken a breather. It certainly hasn't stopped. I'm personally looking at buying in Auckland at the moment for myself, for my whole portfolio, because there's stuff that's going on the market where properties are going for really great prices comparatively. I think it's going to keep going. I think it's a great market to be in. Sorry, can't make it this Sunday. Bugger, you're going to miss out. It's going to be huge. Hey guys, another one. Can't make it this Sunday. Boom. All right, no worries. We'll see you another time. Which area in Wellington will boom? I tell you what, great question. One area in Wellington right now that is booming, and I pick it to continue on going, is Petone, up 30%, where the rest of the hut's up 21% at the moment. Petone's up 30%. It's really, really moving. I think it's going to keep going. I think it's going to tick over and keep booming along. The reason it's booming is because not a lot of people want to shop in the Central Hut at the moment. They're shopping in Petone and in Jackson Street, and infrastructure, motorways, access ways, and also bulk retail. We've just had a Bunnings has opened, so has a Rebel Sport, a Briscoe's, and a brand new Kmart due to open in the next month as well. I think that's going to really see the stuff move along. If you're in other suburbs, believe it or not, I'll be looking at Levin and Otaki with Transmission Gully and the new motorway extension going through. They're going through the roof. The rest of it is just the Hutt Valley. Our normal everyday market here in Wellington and Lower Hutt is tracking along rather nicely. It's really moving along. All right, just got a text through from our tech guys in the background. We've got 2 more ticket sales, which takes us to 15 tickets, and then we are sold out for our Wellington event. Boom. Would you buy a property that is leased and managed by Housing New Zealand that generates guaranteed rent and you have no dealings with the tenants? Housing New Zealand would also put the property into a similar state when you bought it when the lease expires. Yeah, look, I would do as a lazy investment. If I had some spare cash to do that, don't mind doing that. But it depends on location. Again, I'd want to do it in a location where it's going to get some capital gain. Sometimes Housing New Zealand blocks of flats, or where there's a lot of Housing New Zealand, doesn't get the capital gain that you would get in any other street because of the Housing New Zealand stock that's sitting there. So keep that in mind as well, but it wouldn't terrify me, to be fair. And the guys tell me I've sold our 3rd ticket, so we've got 14 tickets to go. Boom. Lani says, thanks, Don and Steve. See you on Sunday in Wellington. Fantastic. Love your work. Looking forward to seeing you. Conrad says, will the event be taped for viewing? Yeah, actually, we do have a guy there who's going to be video recording it, but he's not going to tape the entire event, if that makes sense. He's just going to be taping a few sound bites and bits and pieces. So what we're looking to do is put them up on our YouTube channel, put them on the Property Tutors Facebook page as well, and so the entire event won't be taped. If you want to get full value out of the entire event, unfortunately, you have to be in the room, you have to turn up, you have to be there. But, you know, great question. Lani asks, opinion on investing in property in Hastings and Hawke's Bay. Yeah, look, I'm a fan. There's no scarcity of land out there, but a lot of people move out there to retire. There's a great demographic from Flaxmere right through to really high-end properties. I'm not afraid of the place. If you know it well, go for it, invest there. I think there's a good population there to go as well. Sonny says, how do I get my tickets that I've bought already? If you've already bought tickets, then you're on our list. You bowl up on the day. There's be a whole pile of tables outside the room. You say, hi, I'm Sonny. We look you up on the list and go, yep, ticked off, and here's your seating allocation. So there's no actual physical ticket, but look forward to seeing you there on the day. Come along, let's go. Jeff says, I'm looking forward to Sunday. Can you come and say hi to me on the day? Yes, Jeff, I will. To give you an idea, Jeff is a current client of mine, and he's a great guy, and he's taking the mickey. Good on you. Look forward to seeing you though. Ken says, can you tell me how the income to loan ratio was worked out? I was told no, as I was at 38%. So what they're basically saying is you've got a 38% deposit, but you need a 40% deposit. And so it sounds to me like you need to add some value to your property portfolio so that you can get that 38 up to 40, and they should be able to say yes. Now, what I'd highly recommend is you come along to the event, sit down with Carl Mann, who's our mortgage broking expert, works with Dave Windler in Wellington, and we'll help you get there. It's eminently doable. We've got some tips and tricks of how to not beat, but make our way around that loan-to-value ratio restriction, and we're going to be sharing those on the day. I also know that Don Haar's got some fabulous ways of doing that as well, and he's going to be sharing those too. Hey, remember, guys, I think it's 12, 13 tickets left now, so go to bookthedeal.co.nz. If you're having any sort of trouble with the website, feel free to put your contact details in. There's an email, phone number, and name into the webinar software on the questions section there, and we'll give you a call tomorrow and make sure we confirm your tickets for you as well. But great questions. I'll bowl through as many as I can. Can't make this Sunday. When's the next one? Probably do one later towards the end of the year. They're massive events, and we put everything into them. They're really, really big power events, and so we really don't do heaps of them. Gay asks, are Wellington apartments winners? Yes, the right apartment in the right location in Wellington are great. I personally like small apartments. Little stuff can make a big difference. So, yeah, I mean, good quality stuff in Wellington can be really good. Same question by the next person. I think I've pretty much answered it. Sonny says, awesome, thanks for the ticket info, see you there. Grant says, ditto, would like to catch up with Jeff. Excellent, look forward to catching up with you blokes on Sunday at the event as well. And I've got a question here, when's your next event in Auckland? Hey, tell you what, the easiest way to keep in touch with our next event that will be run in the 09 in the Auckland area is to become a fan of our Facebook fan page. We keep all of our fans up to date with exactly what we're doing and what's going on there. So dive on there and get stuck into that as well. Oh, well, look, guys, that's pretty much me. I've run out of questions to answer for you. Looking forward to seeing everybody that's booked a ticket for the Sunday event. I'll leave this up here for a little bit, but it's bookthedeal.co.nz, and we have 11 tickets left until Wellington is totally sold out. So it looks like a big, massive full room. Really looking forward to giving away all those freebies and catching up with everybody. I've got a massive day of brand new content to deliver to you guys, so really looking forward to getting stuck into that. Hey, but thanks for joining us tonight. And thanks once again to my esteemed colleague and co-speaker, Mr. Don Hart. That was magic. Really enjoy your stuff once again. And look forward to seeing you guys on Sunday. Thanks, guys, and have a great evening.